Have you ever stopped to think about what's really inside a time bomb? That device we see in so many action movies, with colored wires, bright numbers making a relentless countdown, and that characteristic ticking sound that makes your heart race? Well, get ready, because the reality behind these lethal artifacts is far more terrifying and fascinating than Hollywood has ever managed to portray on the big screen. And what I'm about to reveal could completely change the way you see these devices that have already killed thousands of people around the world. Before we begin this disturbing journey inside one of the deadliest objects ever created by humanity, I need you to do one thing for me. Like this video right now, because this information is so valuable and dangerous that you'll want to save this content to watch again, and the algorithm will only show it to more people if you interact with this video right now. So hit that red subscribe button to activate the notification bell. And let's dive together into this deadly secret that very few people in the world truly know. The first thing you need to understand about a time bomb is that it's not just an explosive device with a timer attached. It's far more complex and sophisticated than that. Each component within it has been meticulously designed to fulfill a specific function in the chain of events that culminates in a devastating explosion capable of annihilating everything and everyone within a radius of tens or even hundreds of meters. The heart of a time bomb is composed of three fundamental elements that work in perfect deadly harmony: the timing mechanism, the detonator, and the explosive charge. But between these three main components lies a complex network of wires, circuits, switches, and safety devices designed to ensure that the bomb explodes exactly at the programmed time, not a second before, not a second after. The timing mechanism can be either mechanical or electronic, and this difference is absolutely crucial because it determines not only the accuracy of the detonation, but also the difficulty of disarming the device, something that bomb disposal experts know very well, and which has already cost the lives of hundreds of anonymous heroes who risked everything to save innocent people. In the oldest and most traditional time bombs, the kind you see in classic war movies, the timing mechanism was purely mechanical and based on traditional wind-up clocks, similar to those our grandparents wore on their wrists, but ingeniously and macabrely modified to serve a lethal purpose. These mechanical clocks have a series of gears, springs, and cogwheels that rotate at different speeds. And when you program the timer of a mechanical bomb, you are essentially setting the position of these gears at which the electrical circuit will be completed, allowing current to flow from the detonator to the explosive charge. The clock's main spring slowly unwinds as the gears rotate. When the final gear reaches the predetermined position, a small metal hammer closes an electrical contact that triggers the detonator, initiating the chain reaction that results in the explosion. The ticking sound we hear in movies isn't just a dramatic Hollywood effect. It actually exists in mechanical bombs and is produced by the movement of the escapement mechanism, that small piece that regulates the speed at which the gears rotate, ensuring that the countdown is accurate and that the explosion happens exactly as planned by the terrorists or But modern bombs have evolved far beyond these rudimentary mechanical mechanisms. And today, most improvised explosive devices use digital electronic timers that are infinitely more precise, reliable, and difficult to disarm than their mechanical predecessors. These electronic timers are based on microcontrollers or simple clock chips, similar to those found in any cheap digital alarm clock, but specifically programmed to complete an electrical circuit after a predetermined period of time. The great advantage of electronic timers is that they can be programmed with millisecond precision, unlike mechanical ones which have a margin of error of several seconds or even minutes. And, in addition, electronic timers can incorporate multiple safety and anti-sabotage devices that make any attempt to disarm them extremely dangerous. Some of these devices include motion sensors that detonate the bomb if it is moved, light sensors that explode the device if the casing is opened, or even deadman switches that need to receive a periodic signal to avoid exploding, ensuring that the bomb detonates if the terrorist is captured or killed before completing their mission. And if you're finding this scary, leave a comment telling us which part of this process you find most disturbing, because there are still many more deadly secrets to reveal. The second crucial component of a time bomb is the detonator, also known as the initiator or fuse, and this small device is responsible for transforming the electrical signal sent by the timer into a shock wave powerful enough to initiate the detonation of the main explosive charge. There are several types of detonators, but the most common in time bombs are electric detonators, which consist of a small metal capsule containing a high-resistance filament surrounded by an extremely sensitive primary explosive, usually lead azide or mercury. When the electrical current from the timer flows through the filament, it instantly heats up to temperatures exceeding 1000 degrees Celsius, which causes the primary explosive in the capsule to detonate, creating a shock wave that propagates through a secondary explosive called a booster, usually PETN or RDX, which in turn amplifies the shock wave until it is powerful enough to detonate the bomb's main explosive charge. This cascade of explosions happens in an infinitesimal fraction of a second, so fast that no human being would be able to perceive the individual steps of the process. You would only see a blinding flash followed by an intense heat wave and a devastating explosion that would rip the air from your lungs and tear your body to pieces before you could even process what was happening. The main explosive charge is the third and most obvious component of a time bomb, and it can be composed of a frightening variety of materials, from high-powered military explosives like C4, Semtex, or TNT-2, improvised homemade explosives made with fertilizers, fuels, and oxidizers that anyone with basic chemistry knowledge could theoretically manufacture at home. Although this is obviously extremely illegal and dangerous, the amount of explosive in a bomb can vary from a few grams to hundreds of kilograms, depending on the target of the attack and the terrorist's transport capacity. But even a small amount of high-powered explosive can cause massive destruction in confined spaces, such as buses, airplanes, or buildings. To give you an idea of the destructive power of these materials, just 100 grams of C4, an amount that would easily fit in the palm of your hand, is capable of completely destroying a car, killing all occupants, and throwing debris more than 50 meters away, creating an absolute kill zone within a radius of at least 10 meters around the detonation point. Now imagine what would happen if a backpack containing 5 kilograms of this explosive detonated in the middle of a crowded subway station during rush hour, and you'll begin to understand why time bombs are considered one of the world's deadliest and most feared terrorist weapons. But the true evil ingenuity of a time bomb lies not only in its individual components, but in how they are connected and protected against attempts to disarm them. Terrorists and bomb makers have developed over the decades a series of sophisticated techniques to make their devices virtually impossible to disarm. Without specific knowledge of the device's internal design, one of the most common techniques is the use of multiple redundant circuits that need to be disconnected simultaneously to disarm the bomb. If only one of these circuits is cut before the others, or in the wrong order, the bomb explodes instantly, killing the defusal technician and everyone nearby. Another terrifying technique is hiding the real wiring among dozens of dummy wires of every possible color, making it impossible to determine which wire should be cut without X-rays or specialized equipment that is often unavailable in emergency situations. Some bomb manufacturers also incorporate anti-tampering devices that are activated by tilt, pressure, light sensors, or even changes in the magnetic field around the bomb, ensuring that any attempt to open the casing, move the device, or even bring metal tools near it results in immediate detonation. The technological evolution of time bombs over the last few decades has been truly frightening, and today there are bombs that can be remotely controlled via cell phone, activated by GPS when they enter a specific area, or even programmed to explode only in the presence of specific radio frequencies emitted by security or communication equipment. During World War II, time bombs were relatively simple devices that could be disarmed by trained soldiers with just a screwdriver and a lot of courage. But modern devices are so complex and sophisticated that only highly trained specialists with years of experience and million-dollar equipment have any chance of successfully disarming them. And even then, the statistics are grim, because approximately 3% of all bomb disarming attempts result in accidental detonation that kills or seriously injures the technicians involved, turning these professionals into silent heroes who literally put their lives on the line every day to protect innocent civilians from invisible threats that most people don't even know exist. One of the most frequent questions people ask about time bombs is why terrorists use mechanical or electronic timers instead of simply detonating the bombs manually whenever they want. And the answer is multifaceted and reveals much about the psychology and tactics of modern terrorism. First, time bombs allow the terrorist to be far from the explosion site when it occurs, drastically reducing the risk of capture and allowing them to carry out multiple attacks in sequence in different locations in the city. Second, time bombs can be programmed to explode at specific times of maximum crowding or visibility, such as during public events, peak transportation times, or live television broadcasts, maximizing the number of victims and the psychological impact of the attack. Third, time bombs create a prolonged sense of terror and suspense that begins the moment the threat is discovered and extends until the moment of detonation or disarmament, exponentially amplifying the psychological effect of the attack even if the bomb is successfully disarmed. Fourth, ticking time bombs force governments to evacuate entire areas and mobilize massive resources to search for and disarm the devices, causing economic and social chaos even when the bombs do not explode. If you're wondering how bomb disposal experts actually work when they encounter one of these deadly devices, the process is far more methodical and scientific than Hollywood movies portray. There are no heroes randomly cutting colored wires seconds before the timer reaches zero, because in real life that would result in instant death. The standard procedure begins with a remote assessment, using robots equipped with high-definition cameras and X-ray equipment that allow technicians to study the bomb's internal structure without physically approaching it. Based on these images, the team attempts to identify the type of explosive, the detonator configuration, the presence of anti-tampering devices, and the best neutralization strategy. In many cases, the decision is simply not to attempt to disarm the bomb and instead detonate it in a controlled manner using a disruptor, which is essentially a high-pressure water cannon that fires a concentrated jet capable of physically destroying the detonator and separating the bomb's components before it can explode. This technique, while effective, completely destroys the device and any forensic evidence that could help identify the bomb maker, but it saves lives and eliminates risk, making it the preferred option in over 80% of real-life cases of bombs found in urban areas. But not all bombs can be remotely neutralized or detonated in a controlled manner, especially those placed in sensitive locations such as hospitals, schools, or airplanes where a controlled detonation would cause catastrophic damage to the structure or to nearby people. In these cases, a bomb disposal technician must literally get close to the device, wearing protective clothing that weighs over 40 kilograms and offers limited protection only against low-velocity fragments and some shockwave absorption, but which would be completely useless against the direct explosion of any significant amount of high-powered explosive. The technician then uses a variety of specialized tools, including endoscopes, to view the inside of the bomb through small holes, circuit detectors to map the wiring without opening the casing, and, as a last resort, cutting tools to carefully disconnect the bomb's components in the correct sequence. This entire process can take hours of meticulous work under conditions of extreme stress, knowing that a single mistake, a sudden movement, a wire cut in the wrong order will mean instant death, not only for the technician but potentially for dozens or hundreds of people in the surrounding area. The history of time bombs is stained with numerous devastating attacks that shocked the world and forever changed how we view public safety, from early uses in sabotage wars to modern terrorist attacks that dominate newspaper headlines. One of the most notorious cases was the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995, where Timothy McVeigh used a time bomb containing over 2 tons of homemade explosive made with fertilizer and fuel to completely destroy a federal building, killing 168 people, including 19 children who were in a daycare center in the building. The Madrid attack in 2004 used 10 backpacks with synchronized time bombs that exploded on 4 different trains during the morning rush hour, killing 193 people and injuring over 2,000 in one of the most coordinated and deadly terrorist attacks in European history. And more recently, we have seen an alarming increase in the use of improvised time bombs in conflicts in the Middle East, Africa, and Asia, where terrorist groups have developed increasingly sophisticated techniques for manufacturing and concealing explosive devices that are virtually impossible to detect with conventional technology. The most disturbing aspect of time bombs is that the knowledge needed to manufacture them is more accessible today than at any other time in human history, with detailed tutorials available on the dark web, extremist forums, and even terrorist manuals circulating freely online despite security agencies' efforts to remove them. Anyone with basic electronics knowledge, which you can learn for free on YouTube, and access to common materials available in hardware and electronic stores, could theoretically build a functional device. Although this would obviously be extremely illegal and morally repugnant, security agencies around the world work tirelessly to monitor the sale of suspicious components, infiltrate extremist groups online, and intercept dangerous materials before they can be used in attacks. But the reality is that we live in an open society where information flows freely, and where the line between legitimate knowledge and dangerous information is increasingly blurred. So, now that you know the deadly secrets inside a time bomb, from the mechanical and electronic timing mechanisms to the hypersensitive detonators and devastating explosive charges, from the sophisticated anti-disarmament techniques to the heroic procedures that experts use to neutralize these threats, you are probably looking at the world differently and realizing that we live surrounded by invisible threats that most people prefer to ignore. Alto Reder. The truth is that time bombs represent one of the purest manifestations of humanity's capacity for creative destruction, where scientific knowledge and technical ingenuity are perverted to serve the darkest imaginable purposes. And as long as we continue to live in a world marked by ideological, religious, and political conflicts, these deadly weapons will remain a present threat in our daily lives. But knowledge is power, and by understanding how these weapons work, what their vulnerabilities are, and how experts work to protect us from them, we become more aware, more vigilant, and better prepared to face the threats of the modern world. Now, I need you to do something very important. Go to the comments section right now, and tell me what the most shocking part of this video was for you. Was it discovering how timers work, learning about anti-disarming devices, or realizing how accessible this dangerous knowledge has become in the internet age? Because I read all the comments personally, and they help me create even more interesting content for you in the future. And since you've watched this entire video this far, demonstrating that you truly care about deep and well-researched knowledge, it would be hypocritical of you not to click the subscribe button and activate the bell so you don't miss the next videos where we'll continue exploring the darkest and most fascinating secrets of science, technology, and human history topics that mainstream media never dares to address with the depth and honesty they deserve. And look. A video is appearing on your screen now that will blow your mind with even more disturbing and fascinating information. So click on it immediately and continue this incredible journey of discovery that will completely transform the way you see the world around you, because true knowledge doesn't wait, and the best revelations are always just a click away.